Hi, and welcome to Kidney Plugged In. April 21st to the 27th is National Organ and Tissue Donation Awareness Week, and PKD patient Michael Coyle shares his story to highlight the importance of organ donation registration. Then, Talkin Kidney is at the 31st Annual Festival du Bois in Millardville, the largest francophone festival on the west coast of Canada. But first, we kick things off by recognizing our fabulous Kidney Foundation volunteers during National Volunteer Appreciation Week.
Michael has spent a significant part of his life rescuing and saving other people's lives through volunteering with Coquitlam Search and Rescue. And now he needs someone to help save his life. Welcome to Plugged In, Michael. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me here.
So, Michael, I wanted to start off by talking a little bit about the type of kidney disease that you have, which is polycystic kidney disease. Mm-hmm. Can you explain what exactly that means?
Yeah, polycystic kidney disease is, it's basically what it sounds like. I have multiple cysts growing in my kidneys, and as time goes on, those cysts, they're just filled with fluid. They push the good kidney tissue out, and slowly the kidneys get worse and worse function until they fail.
The other interesting piece about polycystic kidney disease is that it's an inherited disease, and meaning that one of your parents has to have the disease, and there's a 50% chance that the child can inherit. But in your case, it's kind of an interesting story that goes with that. Do you want to talk a little bit about that piece?
Yeah, I was adopted when I was born, and a few years prior to this being diagnosed, I'd looked into my heritage, and I'd found my birth mother. And then I was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease. And of course, I was told that this is a genetic disease. Most of the time, it's inherited. And I realized that quickly that it hadn't come from my mother's side. So I had to start looking into who my birth father was. And that led to a very interesting search involving Facebook and friends of the family and a lot of sleuthing on my own part. And I eventually tracked him down. And yeah, he did have polycystic, he does have polycystic kidney disease, yeah.
And even how you actually, what I guess led you to the diagnosis of polycystic kidney disease is, there's an interesting story with that one too that's kind of attached to your volunteer work with Search and Rescue.
Well, around the year 2000, I volunteered for Search and Rescue here in British Columbia. I volunteered for Coquitlam SAR. And we were doing some advanced medical training with, we were learning how to take blood pressure, and we were doing it the old-fashioned way, you know, not the modern cuff, but like a cuff and a stethoscope, and it's very fumbly. So we had it demonstrated to us by a registered nurse, and then we were doing it on each other, partners, and I would do my partner, he would do me. And he was getting this high blood pressure reading from me. Of course, being a beginner, we called the nurse over to help.
See what he's doing wrong.
Exactly, and it turns out he was getting it right. I did have, my blood pressure was high, and so she told me, you should get this checked out. Well, you know, I went ahead with my life, but the next week she came back and she brought her stethoscope and her blood pressure cuff, and she did it again. And she took me aside and said, you really have to get this checked out. This is high, it's not just a small thing. So that's what led me to going to see the doctor and then the diagnosis. So,
which must have been quite a shock for you, because as we were talked earlier, being an inherited disease, you didn't have that background, that family history, so you kind of were walking in blind to be told then you've got an inherited kidney disease.
Well, yeah, at that time in my life, I was very fit. I cycled across Canada, I rode my bike everywhere. And you know, yeah, in the kind of peak condition, you know, leading mountaineering trips and backcountry skiing, 10-day traverse kind of things. So yeah, to be told that you had this disease was kind of a shock, yeah.
You do volunteer with Search and Rescue, and as you said, it's pretty physically demanding. You're out there on the mountains, you're rescuing people, you're saving lives. How did this diagnosis, I mean, at first, did it change anything? And you've been living with polycystic kidney disease for a number of years now, so how has it actually impacted your lifestyle and your ability to go out and do that kind of volunteer work?
When he diagnosed me, he said that he thought my kidneys would last until I was around 50. And so I thought, well, I've got, you know, from 30 to 50, I've got good 20 years here to do some stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I just went ahead with all that stuff.
You kind of continued on because you were leading a pretty active and healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, but being at the beginning of my Search and Rescue volunteering, I didn't see the point in quitting that either. So I just went at that too. So I became a lot of different certifications in Search and Rescue, helicopter rescue. But you know, as time goes on, your kidney function is on a very slow decline all the way down. And there was a rescue in about 2016, I think, where we were helicoptering a woman off of a very steep cliff. She was cliffed out, like on a ledge. And myself and a member of the team were doing the rescue, and I felt on that rescue not in peak condition. I felt out of breath and tired, and I put together that and my condition, and I said, you know, I have to step back from this. I'm gonna step back from that, and then not too long afterwards, I kind of stepped back from field work as well. I mean, I don't go in the field anymore. But interestingly, running a search and rescue team is way more than the field work. I got trained as a SAR manager. I helped design our new command truck. I'm heavily involved in technology and provincial.
Because you're also a software engineer. That's your day job, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So there's so many other things involved with running a team that I'm able to keep very much involved in the search and rescue community as a whole. Thanks,
Michael. So stay with us. We'll be back with more of Michael's story right after this.
Let's see. So, kidney is These are my grandpa's kidney stones. They're very precious. Kidney is a bone in your back that helps you turn.
I don't know, to be honest. They don't know kidneys are vital, do you? Get the facts at kidney.ca.
David C. Jones here with Talkin Kidney with Sidney the Kidney, and we're at the Festival du Bois. Very exciting, and we got Oceanne here who's going to show us around, show us what's happening here at the Festival du Bois.
Where's he going?
I don't know. I'd be concerned.
Elle est une femme qui n'a pas de cœur. Elle est une femme qui n'a pas de père. Elle est une femme qu'on ne peut pas. Elle est une femme qu'on ne met pas au bras. Elle a les joues qui brillent comme des braises. Elle a les joues rouges comme des fraises. Elle a le choix des oiseaux du bois. Prenez garde, tous les gentilshommes.
So what's going on here?
So basically, we're at the Festival du Bois, which is in Coquitlam, and it's a French musical festival. So
okay.
Yeah, and we have obviously a lot of French food, like the poutine right here.
Okay. So French bread, no, Sidney, no. They have their own food. You don't need French. Go away.
T'es comme un enfant, c'est l'anniversaire. Je suis la chose que tu crois nécessaire, mon emballage. Tu voulais le défaire. T'appuies sur les commandes pour voir ce que je peux faire. Tu t'amuses avec ce que t'as découvert, puis tu me laisses pour une étrangère. Et oui.
So Oceanne, who puts on this festival?
So that's actually the Francophone Society of Mayorville. And basically, it's a group of 5 people in a
5 people
nonprofit.
put on all this?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, with a lot of other people, of course. But it's
Okay.
a nonprofit society who works really hard all year long for that.
Okay, and is it just Quebecois French or just French culture in general?
It's French culture from all over the world. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, Sidney, you're back. What? French toast. French toast. No. 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 Sorry about that. He tries.
Yeah, obviously.
Ses grands yeux verts vont te rendre fou. Avec une laisse, elle te dirige par le cou. Une paire d'œillères te cache les
How
rêves.
often has this festival happened?
So it's our 31st year here, actually.
Next year, it'll be your 32nd year, and it will sound like it's a really short festival. Welcome to the 32nd festival. French fries! French fries.
Yeah.
I don't think they're actually
No,
French.
No.
No.
As much as we try to make the environment healing and calming, it's not always, achievable. But with this mural now, when patients come in, they get, welcomed by this beautiful wall, and it also helps as a way of distraction. When they look at, the trees and, the mountains. So we are really appreciative of that.
And I'm thrilled and privileged to be a part of this mural. It seems like yesterday when the seed was planted to create it, way back in February. Everyone came together to make it happen, from the sky, the mountains, the lake, and the last different animals and birds. Friendships were deepened as we painted side by side. What a team we made. Finally, it was done as we inspected one last time, and everyone wanted to be a part of bringing hope and light for the patients here. So on behalf of all of Art Focus Artists Association, I want to thank you for asking us to paint this beautiful mural.
Very well. Okay.
1, 2, 3. This is Janine. I'm from the Kidney Foundation, and I'm here with Mickey from Art Focus Artists, who did this amazing mural for the Tri-Cities dialysis unit. And Mickey, would you mind telling me why this means so much to you?
It means a lot because there's so many people that have been affected by kidneys. I was amazed when we first got the idea of the seed and planting it and drawing it out and painting it, more and more people came forward and told me that they had friends or themselves or family members who had been affected by kidneys. And the more I told people about this, the more people came forward. I had no idea that the kidney problems were so widespread as they were. So this is why we painted the mural. And we wanted to bring some hope, some light into the lives of the patients that come here 3 times a week and stay anywhere from 3 to 4 hours trying to get their blood clean.
Well, there's so many neat things throughout the picture, just small things that every time that they're on dialysis they can notice. Notice the turtle, notice the rabbit, there's multi-rabbits through there, but they can notice special things. So, and how many artists were involved in this?
We've got about 24 to 30 different artists who came in. We had 4 artists who came in every single week throughout the summer and the fall, 2 times a week, about 3 hours each time. And then the other artists would come in and do a little specialty thing like a rabbit or a bird, and they would work on their specialty thing.
That's wonderful. Thank you so very much.
There is no cure with kidney disease. There's really 2 options. There's either the transplant or there's dialysis.
That's right, yeah.
So it's been in the last little while that you've had, I guess, some more serious conversations with your doctor around that piece.
Well, in 2017, I was referred to the transplant clinic. My doctor at the time said that he thought it was early for me to be referred there, but he didn't see a problem with doing it early. He said there's no real downside to being assessed. So I went there and I was assessed for transplant and approved as a recipient. And then this summer, again, they reassessed me being a couple years later again. But it was March of this year that both the transplant clinic and the kidney clinic were stressing to me that, okay, things are getting to the time where you really, you're thinking it's about a year and a half from now, you will probably need a transplant. So it's time for you to start making it widely known and getting more people involved coming up for a donation. And they stressed that, there's a lot of reasons why someone who wants to donate might not be able to, that they might wash out of the program. So it's very important to have multiple people coming forward so that because any one of them could be, and they can change their minds at any time, of course, too. That's important to know.
So they were really talking about something called a preemptive transplant, where you would get the transplant before you ever needed to go on dialysis. Right.
Yeah.
And so let's talk a little bit about that process, the process you're still going through in terms of trying to find a donor. What have you done? How have you gone about that?
Mostly Facebook. I posted to Facebook a private message in 2017 about how I was going to be assessed. And so my closer friends knew about it, but I made sure that people knew that it was preemptive and it wasn't very urgent. But in March of this year, 2 things happened. The doctors told me that I needed to think more carefully about this, but out of the blue, and a friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing contacted me on Facebook and said, hey, I hear you need a kidney. I've got 2, I'm willing to donate to you. And so that person went ahead and signed up through the kidney transplant process. And that kind of ticked me over. It's like, this person came out of the blue. I better get some more people involved in this. And so that's when I wrote a kind of a more public appeal on Facebook, detailing where I was in the process and what my kidney function level was and things like that. So that was sort of the cry for help. I asked people to step forward, and that's when that happened.
And I know that members of your search and rescue team have also stepped up and...
Yeah, not just my team either. The search and rescue community in BC is 80 teams all over the province. And I've been very fortunate over the years to have gone all over the province and met many of them. So members of the SAR community who I don't necessarily know very well are also coming forward to be tested from various places in BC.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're still out there, you're sharing your story, and your search is continuing. Because as the doctors said, the more people you put into the pool, then the obviously the greater likelihood that someone's gonna be a good match.
That's right, yeah. My partner Sylvia went through the process of being assessed, and they test you every different way to make sure that you're completely healthy and that giving that kidney will have the least effect on your life as possible. So I mean, the good thing about going through being tested as a donor is if there's anything wrong with you, they'll find it.
Yes.
And they're very careful. They won't tell me anything about what's happening to the people being tested. They have a whole separate set of doctors to do that.
We know it's going to go the right way for you.
I hope so, yeah.
We do. And we're all behind you and wishing you the very, very best. And as we said, we're going to get all that good information out there.
Okay.
And thank you so much for coming by and sharing your story with us today.
That was my pleasure.
Thank you.
So where am I? And what is this? And who are you?
That's a lot of questions. My name is Michel Bien. We are in the Voyageur Adventures tent. We are a company, not so much canoe company, but more of a storytelling company. And we share the story, the history before Canada was a country of the voyageurs. And that's kind of the story of how things came together between the French, Scottish, English, and the First Nations peoples, and the fur trade.
And this is like a Métis scarf.
This is a ceinture flèchée, which literally in English means a arrow, like a sash that's arrow. It's got an arrow pattern to it. And so that was woven by a lot of the French and then the Métis people, and it was something you wore as a voyageur. It's very practical. It keeps your innards together when you're carrying heavy weight.
Your innards together?
Yeah.
Like your guts might be coming out.
Well, you know, like the
dangerous back then.
You know, a weightlifter, right? They wear.
Oh, right. They wear a belt.
So as a voyageur, when you have to lift heavy weight and big bundles across a portage, you could be carrying 180 more pounds on your back.
So
So,
it also comes in handy if you're dating and you want to look like you're a different shape than you actually
Yes,
are.
it's that. Yeah. Spanx.
Early Spanx.
Yeah. And then you're also wearing a toque. This is the traditional French Canadian toque you've got on your head there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so you can go on an adventure. You can go on a canoe ride. Look, it looks like they're getting ready to take off. So you can find out more information on what's on the bottom of the screen there, where you can find them. And, oh, there they go.
Salut.
Au revoir.
Did you know one organ donor can save up to 8 lives?
You're more likely to need a transplant than you are to become an organ donor.
Donation is considered only after all life-saving efforts are made, and it's certain you will not survive.
So 2 physicians who are independent of both the donation program and of the transplant program must declare an individual neurologically dead before organ donation can proceed.
Any British Columbian who is 19 or older can register their decision about organ donation, and parents can register their children.
You only need to register your decision once.
A decal on your driver's license or care card is no longer enough.
Register or verify your decision about organ donation at transplant.bc.ca. And now you know.
And now you know.
And now you know.
And now you know.
One of the things that I love about this festival is that it sort of speaks to like life in Canada, because in Canada we celebrate all cultures. Everyone is welcome, and we're a mosaic, as they say. But also we have to have time when we want to be with our own people. We want to be with our own tribe.
Yes,
right?
So this is really an opportunity for all francophones from all over the world who live in Vancouver to just immerse in their culture again.
Be with their own people.
Yes.
Everywhere. What?
Oh,
watch your hot dog.
Attention à ton retour.
Now it's gonna be your guys' turn now to learn this step. Forward, back, forward, ska. Forward, back, forward, ska. Awesome, you guys got it already.
crazy amount of music at Festival du Bois. What's up with that?
Well, basically it's a music festival, so we have francophone music from all over the world.
Okay.
Everywhere in Canada, and some groups who come from Europe and
Africa?
every other place. Yes, that as well.
Wow. This is just like, what do you got there?
Oh, that's French.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
That's French. Oh.
Protect your salad.
The Kidney Foundation of Canada is a national volunteer organization. If you'd like to get involved and volunteer in kidney events in your local community in BC and the Yukon, please contact Volunteer Engagement Manager Janine Tronas at janinetronas@kidney.ca. Interested in learning more about volunteering? Janine will be happy to talk with you about how you can volunteer and help the Kidney Foundation make a difference in the lives of persons living with kidney disease.